more for you. Cavs and Knicks in the world's most famous arena last night. And this game was absolutely one-sided for three quarters and company. It was 9 minutes to go in the fourth. The Cavs are up by 14, and they're going to keep adding to that lead. Alan, Dean Wade was 3 of 5 from 3. This gives the Cavs a 17-point lead.
They were shredding the Knicks defense with a lot of cross-court passes, kick-out threes, and they were hitting them.
Donovan Mitchell, he would score 29. That three makes it a 21-point game. At one point, the lead would be 22. The New York Knicks win probability would point 0.1%.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is, because they had Jalen Brunson on their side. And Windy, there was no secret. He was seeking out James Harden, and he dominated.
I want you to watch the fluorescent shoes. This is where the Knicks targeted. Watch the shoes and watch them go by the shoes. You're going to see this again and again and again.
That one, the dish to Karl Anthony Towns, who scored 13. Knicks a 7-0.
Where are the shoes?
That's more Brunson.
Where are the shoes?
Highlighters. Not moving quick enough.
Look at him. J. Will. That's Brunson. The Knicks on a 12-1 run. They're within 12 in the game.
Where are the timeouts, Kenny Atkinson? Stop the run. Stop the momentum.
There's 4 timeouts right there.
And why is Jalen confronting James Harden again and again and again? 6 straight. There's 6 straight possessions like that.
Knicks a 15-1 run. They cut it to 8, 3.5
There's
to go.
still 4 timeouts.
There's
still no change for the defense.
There's the highlighter shoes again.
18-1 run. Chalamet says this is better than an Oscar. Brunson 11 straight points personally. It's a 7-point game. Now it's Mikal Bridges.
You see that there's 2 timeouts. I want you to remember that. Why did it go from 4 to 2? We'll talk about it.
We'll talk at length about the timeouts in all of this. Knicks cut the lead. Now it's Bridges again.
James Harden again.
Who is guarding him? Patrick Ewing loves it. Larry Johnson loves it.
Knicks are within 3. Then it's Mitchell. He's blocked by Towns. The lead is still 3 points. Under a minute left. And here's the moment that you know what's going to be your night. Landry Shamet with the shooter's bounce. Oh! He was 3 of 3 from 3. None bigger than that. Knicks a 28-6 run. They tie the game at 99. So where do the Cavaliers go? It was a tough night for James Harden, but Michael Wilbon, he could have been the hero. This could have been the game winner.
Why is the ball?
Not after May 1st. Why does he have it? And why is Donovan Mitchell a decoy for like the last 8 minutes of the game?
He made that one good.
He makes the shot, though, and so he's got a chance to be the hero. It's a 2-point lead. But the Knicks are going to come back. Look how tough this shot is from over Harden. We're tied at 101. Final second.
This is the one again.
What
a look, though.
Hey, remember Tyrese Halliburton.
Sam Merrill. That was for the ball game, and instead, 48 minutes, insufficient to settle the issue.
Now you know it's over. No, I didn't think they'd scored all Cleveland in the overtime.
And they barely did. Remember, the Knicks had the overwhelming advantage in rest, and as the game went on, it certainly shows up.
There's Harden again.
Oh,
you reach that
left again.
Brunson, 38 points. Knicks by 4.
Again.
Left.
Giannonobi taking it to the hole, clearing out space. Knicks by 6. 2 minutes to go. Brunson.
We're not showing you stops, by the way.
Shamet. Not a lot of stops. The Knicks end the game on a 44-11 run. And incredibly, impossibly, from 22 down, win game 1. A miracle at Madison Square Garden. It goes without saying it's one of the great comebacks of all time. 22 points down, the largest by the Knicks in a playoff game since at least 1970. I say it that way because that's when we started keeping track of such things. Entering this game, listen to this, Michael Wilbon. In the last 30 years, teams were 0-663 when trailing by 20 in the final 7 minutes. Now you can change that to a 1. Jalen Brunson, how did you do it?
We got some stops. We kept fighting, kept believing. Just kept chipping away. You know, they were playing great basketball, and we just found a way. I really don't have an answer.
I said in the locker room, just that. We lost. We blew it. All right, let's round per game 2. Simple as that.
All right, put your feet up. We don't need no commercial breaks. We got a lot of time laid out to talk about an unbelievable night, and there were so many ways to dice this up. And we'll start with the question that's on the screen. Wendy, I'll start with you. Was this about a Cavaliers collapse, or is this about the Knicks putting together a miracle fourth quarter?
Yes, I think two things, both things had to happen.
Right.
Whenever you see such a situation like this in basketball, it is the result of multiple things coming together. It was the result of the Cavs, I think, just nothing coming from the bench, no instruction coming from the bench. Fatigue, definitely playing all of these games in recent days. Jalen Brunson being just awesome. I mean, this is Captain Clutch. This is what he does. All of those things had to align. And also, I honestly, James Harden in that situation, like, he should ask to be taken off. Like, it would have been responsible for him to say, take me off of him. Just to be clear, they didn't have him directly on Brunson. They had him on other wings. And then the Knicks would run a screen to force him over to him. So it wasn't like they directly put him on him, but the Knicks literally ran the same play about 9 consecutive times, and Brunson scored on 8 of them.
That was the story of the game clearly last night in the fourth quarter, Mr. Wilbon.
It wasn't just, it was a failure on the part of Cleveland. A failure. You talked about the bench. 18-1 and no timeouts. I know this for a fact. The Knicks players in live time looking at each other going, okay, they're going to call timeout right now. No, 2 more baskets. They'll call it now. 2 more baskets. And finally, let's just go. Let's just keep going. They could not believe the momentum they built was uninterrupted by Cleveland. And I'm looking at the scoreboard seeing 4, as Wendy mentioned, 4 initially, and you go 18-1, you don't call time? How about this? You just come off of game 7. You played 5, 6, 7. Your team, you know, if anybody's going to have dead legs, we just saw this with Philadelphia in the previous series.
Sure.
You've got to help them. Kenny Atkinson, by all accord, a fine coach for a lot of years. It was like there was paralysis, like he could not do anything. I don't know what. The Harden thing is really unbelievable. I had a couple of players say to me, because I called people last night, and I during this, and they're all watching it, and people were like, 10 years ago, you wouldn't leave James Harden on Brunson or whoever the equivalent of Brunson was in that time. 10 years ago, at his athletic best. And now you're going to leave? The Knicks dictated that confrontation time after time after time, and they did nothing. I mean, you had Wade on him earlier. Wade 6'10". At one stretch, they don't call timeout to get Wade back in the game. He and Strus are both not in the game. The failure by the Cavaliers staff. I don't want to take anything away from the Knicks and Brunson. They were great.
No, they deserve a little.
But the failure was stunning.
I want to play the soundbite because I think this is incredibly important. So Kenny Atkinson is asked after the game. For those of you who may have turned it off at the beginning of the fourth quarter, said this thing is over. As the Knicks are mounting this incredible comeback we just showed you, as has been repeatedly pointed out here, and Wendy was pointing out the number of timeouts on the screen, the Cavaliers bench didn't do anything about it. They didn't call a single timeout. Kenny Atkinson was asked about it after the game. This is what he said.
Yeah, I like to hold my timeouts. I mean, I didn't want to have one timeout at the end of the game. 1 or 2 point game, I try to hold them,
Okay, this is a terrible answer. And this is an absolutely terrible answer. So Wendy, can you just explain the rule so that everyone understands that actually makes no sense?
Okay, so in a vacuum, what he's saying is I want to have 2 timeouts so that I can call one if I need it, and I have 1 to use for challenge. But you get 4. You have 4. When you get to 3 minutes, 2 of them get taken away. That's why you hear the concept of the use it or lose it timeout. You have to use 2 by the 3-minute mark or you lose them. They didn't use them. And Jay, why do you call a timeout? Why do you call a timeout?
To stop a run, to stop momentum.
So you can sub, so that you can change your defensive strategy, and so that their offense was we didn't show, but their offense was dying on the vine out there too. So you can draw up a play. Jalen Brunson had 5 fouls for the majority of the fourth quarter.
They didn't target him.
Never did. Never went at him.
I mean, there was cognitive arrest on the Cavs bench.
Can we just call this what it is,
still having 2 timeouts. Go.
I will say it because I feel it. It was the last 15 minutes of the game feel like coaching malpractice. It really does. And everybody this morning is going to talk about this being a choke job. I won't, honestly, because I felt like the last 15 minutes was one of the greatest exposure events I've seen in a long time. And look, they were auditing, if you talk about auditing Kenny Atkinson and his coaching pedigree, then the account was overdrawn. It was overdrawn. And malpractice, I can go through a variety, not only not using timeouts, they were targeting Cat, not targeting Jalen Brunson. We talked about James Harden being on the court. Yeah, James Harden can remove himself, but we're crazy as players. We're not going to remove ourselves. The guy who is controlling the schemes and the strategy is your job to see that we are getting targeted each and every possession. You should do that. By the way, the only 2 times they started doubling were in the last 1 minute and 22 seconds of the game. And by the way, I'd much rather you play Jalen Brunson 1v1, force him to take tough twos while you're up 6, instead of doubling him and then allowing ball rotation for quick threes, which is what they did in order to get back into the game, send it to overtime. Coaching malpractice is the only words I know how to describe the last 15
How much,
minutes of the
Jay,
game.
is this?
I don't know.
The simple thing of fatigue. Again, this team just had 1 day off.
Yeah.
From a game 7 where they had to, in a series that they had to really empty the tank. They come into this game, they played 41 minutes. When they got to 41 minutes, they wanted the game to be over. That's a lack of experience in the playoffs.
You were right there, right? You're sitting right next to the Cavs bench.
Yes, and you could see like they felt like they had this game in hand. And that's probably why. The Knicks were frustrated. This is the third quarter when the Knicks gave up 35 points, and they're trying to get right. The rest versus rust thing, the rust was showing on the Knicks side of things. They were the frustrated team. The Cavaliers were feeling good. They were building off a Game 7 win on the road in Detroit, and they were where they wanted to be. But it got to 41 minutes, and that's when they didn't run through the tape at 48 minutes. The Knicks learned this lesson last year. Same place, same exact time. Game 1, at home, up double digits in the fourth quarter, and they pulled back. They didn't run through the tape. They ended up losing that game on a crazy shot. They forced overtime by Tyrese Halliburton, and the Knicks were reeling after that. You'll never forget this moment, and the Knicks players didn't either, which is why, even though the building was quiet, no one left. Even though the Knicks had a 0.1% chance to win, they kept playing, and that's what Jalen Brunson was saying in that huddle, is keep going, because they knew they had the rest factor. So some of that might have been mental fatigue, physical fatigue, and everything else going on the Cleveland side of things, but that team thought they had the game won. And that's why I think Kenny Atkinson thought, all right, we don't need to do this. But what happened was the crowd got going, and Jalen Brunson got going, and once that happened, it was an avalanche.
One other quick thing. So you got a player who's got, in Donovan Mitchell, 29 points in that game. He was a decoy for every important possession. James has the ball going down the left side of the court offensively. And Donovan Mitchell, and so we start asking, is he hurt? We know he rolled his ankle, but
that might be it, though.
Mike,
he doesn't ever touch the ball. Donovan Mitchell,
6
your
shots,
star.
Mike. 6 shots in the final 15 minutes.
Unbelievable.
6 shots down the
Fourth
stretch.
quarter and overtime. Yeah, and he made 1 3.
Think about that. And at some point, I get the accountabilities on Donovan, Mike, and Wendy, right, as well. But you would think, like, once again, when the league goes from 20 to 6 without there being a timeout called,